Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while. I haven't done many videos here recently. I think the last one you saw was us moving some of our junk from our old house to our new house. Well, we are finally in the new house. We moved in at the end of March, beginning of April. So if you're watching this here in the next week or so, we will be moved in for nearly 2 months. Yay! So we got a lot of stuff still left to do. Here yesterday, I was doing my attempt at woodworking out in the garage. We had to put in, I don't know if they're called kicker boards on the cabinets, the little strips at the bottom of the cabinets. We had some touch-up work. The island had to be finished out. Yeah, anyways, there's still a lot of stuff still left to do. I hope to get in the attic and put in some OSB boards so I can have some more storage. Anyways, but the good news is we're finally in after a painful few weeks. We had to stay a week in a hotel, roughly 3 days here, the move in, and another 2 or 3 days in another hotel. So anyways, we're here. We have almost moved all of our stuff in. I'd say we're like 95%. We still have a few boxes left. And again, that's just because we don't have the shelving and stuff it's built to put on it. So diving into more details of why we had to stay a week in the hotel, just to, kind of give you an idea, but we had put our house on the market, our old house, in the middle of January, and it had sold, or we had a lot of people come look, and somebody finally put a bid in, I'd say around the 1st of March, and wanted to be in by the end of March. So the new house was pretty close by then. But it wasn't quite ready. But we talked to our builder. He thought that it would be 95% ready by the time we got here. Well, fast forward to the end of the March. The week before it was the week previous to the end of March. We were wanting to move in because the buyers were going to move in that Friday before the last week. I can't give you exact dates as I don't remember them off the top of my head. Anyways, I believe it all was going to happen the second to last week of March. Well, long story short, the house wasn't even close to ready. We were getting the cabinets put in. The cabinets had just got put in, but the counters were in the middle of being put in. The floors weren't done, which I'll get to here in a minute. The electric wasn't done, the plumbing wasn't done, all the, major stuff you have to live in a house. So, fast forward to the week after, before that, luckily the buyer could only close on a Friday, which put us a little too soon to close. So we couldn't close the Friday of the week, the last week. So we pushed it back to the Friday of the last week of March. So that gave the builders and electrician and plumber and the cabinet, or the trim, they call it a trim carpenter, all that another additional 4 or 5 days. So we get to the last week and Wednesday, and it's still, the trim guy was pretty close, but the plumbers and electricians plumbers were out, and they were working on it that Wednesday and Thursday of that last week, but the electricians didn't finish until I think over the weekend into the next week, if I remember correctly. Anyways, long roundabouts, the electricians were the last ones to get done, and so we moved in, like at the very end of the month. I think it was like the 29th or 30th. Well, we get in, and we're there for, I don't even know if it was a week. It was about a week, I think roughly a week. And the floors weren't done at this point, and we were, wanting them done, meaning they had a first coat of wax on them. And if you remember correctly, these are stained concrete floors, which I'll go into details whether wife and I might have differing opinions, but if I were to do it over again, I think I'd put flooring in. Stained concrete, if you do it right and don't have people putting tape on it, tape ruins them. If you ever do stained concrete, just an FYI, if you don't have the right tape, it peels up that stain, and anyways, it made it look a little trashy here and there. So anyways, back to the story. They had one coat of wax on it already, but they needed to put a second and third coat on so they could do it over the weekend. And so we had to go back out into a hotel over the weekend, Friday, I think Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. No, Friday nights, Friday, Saturday, and then we came back Sunday. And that gave it enough time to dry. And then we officially started moving in our stuff. It was all packed into the garage. Thankfully, we have a really big garage and it fit all our stuff in there. So the builder or the contractor had a young guy that would be willing to help. So he came over Sunday and helped me move all of the big heavy stuff in. And then over the next few weeks, we got all of our boxes and everything else moved in. We put up some shelves. We did an open shelf in our kitchen. Anyways, we got in. It was a little painful. We were cursing. Well, I wouldn't say cursing. One of us was cursing. I don't curse. So that leaves only one other person about the move and that we'll never do this again. And you're probably right, because the pain's still fresh. Even though it's been 2 months, it's still a nightmare. So if you ever build your own house, have a lot of time to be patient. Don't worry too much about that. So just some lessons learned, me speaking frankly. If you're gonna build your own house, time it in a way to where you're not pressed for if you're selling another house to have to move in immediately after. That's lesson one. Lesson two, when things, they say, take 6 months, plan on about 9 or longer. That's lesson two. Work is slow. Everybody is busy. All of these contractors they line up their projects weeks in advance. So if somebody runs behind and another person can't come in, then that gets it delayed for that next contractor, which could push it out several more weeks. And we ran into that a couple of times because things went long. So that's lesson two. Be willing, have the patience to wait for it, and not be rushed, and not rush the workers, because you want them to do a good job. And I forgot to mention, the thing that really backlogged us was the painters. We weren't officially gonna get it painted. We were gonna do it ourselves. I'm glad we did get it painted, because we'd probably still be working on painting it, and I hate painting. But that's what backed us up mostly. Anyways, they did a great job painting. If my guy from church is watching this, you did a great job. Anyways, back to the story. Lesson number 3, the concrete floors, stained concrete. Spend the money. If you do it, I would change we did it before anything else got done. I think maybe you want to wait until the house is built and everything's done, and then go in room by room and stain it. That would be the next lesson that I would take from it. And then use etching. We did not use I don't know if that's the right name. It basically prepares the concrete for the stain. We did not use any of it, and some of the stain just didn't stick, which they told us we needed to, but everybody we talked to says, nah, you don't need it, but you do. Get the etching. I don't know what kind of concrete gets poured everywhere else, but here it needed etching because a lot of the stain didn't take. The lighter color stain didn't take. The darker color, the cola, it did okay, but that lighter stuff, it didn't take. Lesson number 4, pay attention to how if you have an attic, pay attention to how they run the electrical and the venting and all that. They really made it a pain in ours to do anything. I'm having to put a 2x4 on top of where the beams or the studs run, and then put OSB on top of that, because all of the cables are laying on top. And if you set OSB right on top, it's gonna squish everything. I would have thought they would have gone through the studs, so it's off the ground, but they didn't. Maybe they were rushed. Anyways, that's lesson 4. Pay attention to how they're doing things. And lesson 5, we had a great contractor. He was he talked to us and kept us informed, but remember what you asked for. We ran into a few things that got forgotten in our house. Nothing major, just some things like a water softener and a few other things that I know we asked for, and they just didn't get added. We're getting them added now, and it wasn't that big a deal, but just get it in a contract or get it in writing what you want, and make sure you emphasize that you want that in there. And of course, that should be common knowledge. Like, ours just wasn't a traditional deal for a house build, and it was a custom house. So if it was a cookie cutter home from a major builder, they build them all the same, and they know exactly what every house gets exactly the same. And this just wasn't that. It was a custom home with custom things. So you write it down, have a list, and then make sure you follow up on it before things get finished. And again, this house is pretty open. It was pretty easy to add some of these things, so not a biggie for us, but it could be for you if you need some stuff done that's going to take a lot of work to do. I don't know what lesson number I'm on. We'll just say lesson number 5 is what I'm on now. Lesson 5, get your yard done. We didn't, I guess, budget it in ours. So we don't have a yard, and every time it rains, it's just mud. And it's horrible. It drags it in. So get your yard done. Plan on putting money in for that. Make sure you have a landscaper come out. We are getting ours done. Sorry about that. We're not getting the grass planted. We're going to do that ourselves, but we're getting the dirt work done. It's worth spending the money to have it done right. And we're in a hilly area with lots of rocks, so our house is here, and then our backyard, it drops a good 2 foot. So we're going to have somebody bring in dirt to even it out. And that's pretty much it. The rest of the house is great. We're out where we want to be. The garage is huge. It's going to hold everything we could ever want. It's very quiet out here, and we're independent. I mean, it's there's nobody around. We have neighbors, but it's just it's very peaceful. So I probably would never do it again. But if I had to do it over again, to move from our old place to the new place, I would do it again, because it's just so nice out here.